Hey, I'm Nancy Cavey, National ERISA and Individual Disability Attorney. Welcome to Winning Isn't Easy. Before we get started, I have to give you a legal disclaimer. This podcast is not legal advice. The Florida Bar Association says I've got to say it, but I've said it now. And we're going to move on because nothing is going to prevent me from giving you an easy to understand overview of the disability insurance world, the games that carriers play, and what you need to know to get the disability benefits you deserve. It's crucial that you understand the role of your doctor in your short and long term disability claim before you stop working and apply for benefits and even appeal a case. I'm going to be talking about four things today. Number one, what do your medical records say, and what isn't in your medical records can make or break your claim from the very beginning. Two, what an attending physician statement form is and how it's used in your disability insurance claim. Three, how the carriers evaluate your claim using disability duration guidelines. And fourth, I'm going to tell you a David versus Goliath story and the story of how one court took on Unum and took them to task for how they handled a fibromyalgia case. Before we get started, let's take a break for a moment.
Have you been robbed of your peace of mind from your disability insurance carrier? You owe it to yourself to get a copy of Robbed of Your Peace of Mind, which provides you with everything you need to know about the long-term disability claim process. Request your free copy of the book at caveylaw.com today.
Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. I'm going to talk about what your medical records say and what isn't in your medical records and how that can make or break your claim from the very beginning. When you apply for disability benefits, one of the first things the disability insurance carrier is going to do is to get a copy of your medical records. And quite frankly, you should be getting a copy of your medical records before you stop work and apply for your benefits. You're going to be stunned at what you see and what you don't see in your medical records. Now, I will tell you that doctors are not in the business of taking a really good medical history, and that history is crucial to your case. When a disability insurance carrier reviews your medical records, they want to understand when your symptoms started. They want to understand what your symptoms are, how often you have the symptoms, how long the symptoms last, and more importantly, how your symptoms impact your ability to do your own occupational duties or any occupational duties. Now, let's take all of that apart. Many times I find that problems will start from the very beginning when the doctor asks, "How are you doing?" In fact, I talked to a client today about this, and as we were talking, his wife interjects and says, "Well, Miss Cavey, do you know that every time he sees the doctor and the doctor says, 'How are you doing?' he says, 'Fine.'" And I know he's not fine. And I have to interrupt and tell the doctor all of the symptoms and problems my husband is having and how they impact his ability to function. Would you tell him to give a good history? And I laughed and I said, "Well, your wife is giving you good advice, because if you are telling the doctor you're fine, how on earth do you think the disability carrier is going to react to that?" And when we asked the doctor to fill out a form attesting to your restrictions and limitations, what do you think he's going to say? He told me he was fine, but now he wants to apply for disability benefits. So you have to be straight up honest about your medical symptoms and how those symptoms impact your ability to function. The other thing I think that is very important is the fact that your doctor is documenting those symptoms and your functionality issues. Many times, the disability carrier is also asking you to complete forms called activity of daily living forms. And they want to know what your symptoms are. In other words, what can you do and how do those symptoms impact your ability to do things? They're going to compare and contrast what you put on the activity of daily living form with what's recorded in your medical records. And if there's a discrepancy, that will give the carrier ammunition with which to deny your claim. So again, important that you tell your doctor your symptoms and functionality. Now, I have my clients use something that I've developed called a symptoms and functionality worksheet. It helps my clients give a good interval history to the physician about their symptoms and how those symptoms impact the ability to function. And those are two words I'm sure you're going to end up hating by the end of this episode. But what I mean by that is, let's say you have a back condition, you've had back surgery and you have back pain and it radiates down to your toes. We want to document that you have the back pain, that it radiates down your toes, that it happens 24/7, that you can't sit more than 45 minutes, for example, without having to get up and move around, that you may have be in a recliner most of the day, say 2/3 of the day, with your feet elevated. Or you can't even stand at the sink for more than 15 minutes doing dishes because of the back pain, and then you have to sit down. You see, I'm connecting the symptoms with the functionality, and that's really crucial. The other thing, of course, that's crucial is that your doctor understand what the definition of disability is and the definition of your occupation, because the doctor, as I said, is going to be asked to fill out these attending physician statement forms, and if they don't know what it is you're doing, and particularly what you're having problems doing, it'll be very hard for them to accurately fill out an attending physician statement form. And as you read your records before you stop work and apply for benefits, you may be stunned to find that your doctor doesn't support your claim. And if that happens, you better switch doctors immediately and see a new doctor at least several times before you stop working and apply for benefits, because the disability carrier is simply not going to assume that your complaints are legitimate and valid and you can't work, notwithstanding the fact that your doctor may not support your claim. So you can see that what's in your medical records and what isn't in your medical records can make or break your claim from the very beginning. Let's take a quick break.